Folks, scared to lose the deal. I'll explain what happened and then get into the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham region for week ending July the 30th, 2025. If you want to speak directly with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Gentleman called me. He was talking to me about the situation he recently experienced. He was selling his property and he had been on the market for a while. No offers, very few showings, but eventually he received an offer. They negotiated a price. It's lower than what he wanted, but he didn't know when the next one was coming, so he accepted that offer. There was a home inspection condition, and they did the home inspection right away. And there was a few things that were wrong with the house. And the buyer's agent sent the full home inspection report to the seller's agent, and the seller's agent naturally forwarded that to the seller. And the buyer's agent attitude was, look, there's still a few days before the home inspection condition expires. My clients, remember, the buyers, they're just going to kind of think about what their next move is going to be before this home inspection condition expires. There was quite a few things wrong with the house. Now, some of these were just minor things, the way the seller explained to me. He said that, some of them were minor things I should have sorted out a while ago, but some of them were a little bit more major, some of them maybe even a little bit unreasonable. But the seller immediately started fixing everything, was prepared to take care of everything. And after a couple of days, basically told his agent, the seller's agent, he told him, tell the buyers that I've already done I fixed a lot of these issues. And for the ones that I can't do, I've already got contractors lined up to come in and fix the rest. I will take care of everything that's on this home inspection report, all the negative things. And I'm thinking, wow, that's like, you're really jumping ahead. And I go, well, what made you decide to just do everything right away and spend whatever money it takes to do all that? And he says, well, I was scared to lose the deal. I didn't want to lose the deal. And so that message is conveyed to the buyer side. And now it's the day that the condition expires. It's the afternoon. It's literally a few hours before the condition expires. And the buyer's agent calls the seller's agent and says, you know what? My clients want to pull out of the deal. They're not going to waive this condition. They're not going to move forward. It's just too many. They don't want the house anymore because of all these things that were there. And the agent is trying to explain, the seller's agent, but the seller is going to take care of everything. But the buyers still want to pull out. And when the seller's explaining to me this situation, he's getting upset. It's like he's reliving that emotion again. He's so upset. He's thinking, like, I was prepared to do everything, and these people still pulled out. I think there was something else going on. Maybe they found another property. Maybe so, but you have a tough time proving that. And some buyers just, once there's so many things, even if you fix it, their attitude, some of them just like don't want the house anymore. And so that's what happened. No deal. And the seller was so upset. I've been in this situation before, represented sellers that home inspection comes up and there's some problems. There's some things wrong with the house. It's normal when you're buying resale properties. There's things that are not going to be 100%. My advice is usually to the seller, just pause. They've told us what's wrong with the house, or what they feel is wrong, but don't do anything just yet. Look, if there's a few little tiny minor repairs and it's like no problem whatsoever for the seller to sort that out, okay, go ahead. But anything major, anything that's going to cost money, just pause for a second. Wait for the buyer to make the next move. Wait for the buyer to say what they're happy with, what they're not happy with. We've seen it before where there's a long list of problems and the buyers say, we're okay with sorting all these things out, but this one thing really bothers us. And now that's your negotiating point. Now maybe you as the seller are willing to take care of that one thing. But many times my attitude also to the seller is, many times, not in every situation, but the seller is often better off figuring out a price and reducing the price and letting the buyer sort this out when the buyer has possession of the home. I can guarantee you, when the seller does the work, so many times the buyer still finds a problem with how the work was done. You're just better off, less headaches as a seller, renegotiate a price that both sides are comfortable with and put everything on the buyer to deal with when they close. And for the buyer side, you can hire anybody you want then because, in lieu of the seller doing the work, you got a reduction in price. Do the work yourself and you could hire the best people if you want, and you could feel confident on how the work was done, because there is a chance that the seller is maybe going to just get it done as cheap and as fast as possible because they're selling the house anyway. So, it helps both sides, I believe, if the buyer does the work. But don't jump right away and start doing all sorts of stuff to your home. You don't know what the buyer's position is. You need to know that. So the next time you're selling a property and the buyer has all these issues in their home inspection, just wait. Wait and see what the buyer says or does next, and then you can go from there. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. And if you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. We're going to be focused on detached properties in Mississauga, in Brampton, and in Durham. Now for Durham, we're using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as our Durham sample. Mississauga, average sold price for detached properties way up here. You drop down by about $300,000 and you get to where prices are for Brampton in the Durham region. We're going to start off with Mississauga. For week ending July the 30th, 41 detached properties were sold. 4 of those sold at $2 million or more. I would say that sales, it's kind of hard to pick if it's trending up or down. I can see here the last few weeks trending up, but then it's, I'm going to say it's kind of flat. This time of the year, we normally see volume trending downwards, especially once we head towards August, but we're not seeing that, not yet in Mississauga anyways. Average sold price over the last month or so has been trending down. We're now at $1,390,000. If we go back to, say, the end of April, May, average price looks like it was trending up. Now it's starting to go the other way. Compared to the same week a year ago, $1,390,000 is 3% higher. The median price of $1,310,000 is 1% lower. The dotted line, the 4-week moving average, shows average price and median price trending downwards. 41 were sold, 22% sold at list price or more. 115 were listed. Listings are trending down, which is normal at this time of year. Of all the available detached properties in Mississauga, which is 909, 4.5% sold for the current week ending July 30th. Months of inventory, looks like it's trending down. We're sitting at 5.1 months of inventory now. Here's Brampton. 49 detached properties were sold. 2 of those sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price overall trending down, but it is up from the previous couple of weeks to where we are now. We're sitting at $1,095,000. $1,095,000 is 9% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of $1,040,000 is also 9% lower. Overall, median price and average price trending downwards. 49 were sold, 29% sold at list price or more. Listings are trending down. There's 1,385 detached properties in Brampton currently available for sale. And when we look at last week's sales, basically we're saying that only 3.5% of all detached properties actually sold. This is just for Brampton. And months of inventory climbed a tiny bit. We're now at 6.5 months of inventory. Here's Durham. And I repeat, just to remind you, Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby is what we're using as our Durham sample. So for week ending July 30th, 53 detached properties sold. 3 of those sold at $2 million or more. 3 is quite a bit for Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. Which way are sales going? Again, difficult to say if sales are trending up or down. Average sold price, it is up from the previous couple of weeks, but overall has been trending down. The current average sold price is $1,080,000. $1,080,000 is 4% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of $1 million is 5% lower, both median and average price trending down. Not a lot, it's slightly trending down over the last 3 months. 53, we said, have sold. 21% of those sold at list price or more. Listings trending down. Look at this percentage. Of all the available properties for sale currently in Durham, well, for Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby, there's 667. 7.9% actually sold. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, 7.9%. Let's just say it's 8%. That means 92% didn't sell. But that 7.9% is higher than most regions in the GTA. Months of inventory, one of the lower ones we've seen in a while. We're now at 2.9 months of inventory. Here's a quick summary. In some cases, you're going to experience a buyer's market. In other cases, more predominantly, it's going to be a balanced market. There'll be exceptions where it's a bit of a seller's market, but that's a bit of a rarity. But you can come across it. So just make sure you really understand the data for what you're either looking to sell or looking to buy, because price point, neighborhood will have a lot to do with it. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.